places, so here's my Earth Top 100. It's easy to forget how incredible our planet is. From the wonders of South America to the endless history of Europe, there's something worth discovering in every corner of our world. This video is a long one, so I made timestamps so you can jump around to your favorite locations. Let's start this video off in Cape Town, South Africa. If you love ocean and mountainous landscapes, you're in luck because Cape Town has both. One of my favorite features of Cape Town is Lion's Head. It's this wizard hat-shaped peak that you can hike to the top of. Another wild spot is Table Mountain. You can take a cable car to the top and it offers some of the most incredible views of Cape Town from up there. Now, one of the best beaches in Cape Town is Camps Bay. The water may be chilly, but it offers some spectacular scenery all around. While we're still in South Africa, we're going to visit Drakensberg. It's a set of mountains on the South African Lesotho border, and it's home to some of the most incredible scenery. One of the craziest places is Tugela Falls. With a height around 1,000 meters, it's the second tallest waterfall in the world. The area that it's located in is called Amphitheater. It is just this bowl of massive cliffs that descend down to the gorge below. After, we're going to venture to Botswana to experience the Okavango Delta. Now, located in the northern part of the country, the Okavango Delta is this massive seasonal swamp that can be seen from space. The area gets flooded and it reaches its peak water levels during the summer months. Now, due to the influx of water, animals come from all over, and it creates one of Africa's greatest wildlife concentrations. From elephants wandering through the chest deep water to red lechwe antelope running through the swamps. It's just incredible how much wildlife exists in the Okavango Delta. One of the best ways to experience it is by taking a boat and wandering through the endless canals and lagoons, marveling at all the wildlife. Now, afterwards, we're going to head to the famous Victoria Falls. Located on the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, Victoria is one of the longest waterfalls in the world with a length of 1,708 meters. The Zambezi River is what powers the waterfall, and one thing that I think that's unique about it is how it plunges into this narrow gorge. It's something unique I've never seen in any other waterfalls. There's just one place on the fall. It's called Devil's Pool, where you can sit in the water right in the edge of the waterfall. It looks like you're going to fall in, but thankfully the current isn't that strong. After, we're going to visit the country of Namibia, located on the Atlantic coast above South Africa. Now, when people think of Namibia, the Namib Desert probably comes to mind. It's full of massive orange sand dunes and those orchid antelope. Now, one of my favorite places in the Namib Desert is Deadly. It's this clay pan surrounded by massive dunes, and what makes it so unique is that there's these trees that died 600 years ago because water stopped coming into the area, and they are frozen in time. After, we're going to visit Tanzania. I think Tanzania is one of the most incredible countries in Africa. From the safari to Mount Kilimanjaro, there's just so much to see. If you like tropical vibes, you can visit Zanzibar. It's this island archipelago located just off the coast of Tanzania. It's some of the white sand beaches and a phenomenal coastline. Another one of my favorite places in Tanzania is the Serengeti. When it comes to the African safari, the Serengeti is one of the best places to witness Africa's wildlife. It's home to the Great Migration, which is when the wildebeest make a circular loop around the Serengeti into Kenya's Masai Mara every year. Now, the crowning feature of Tanzania and Africa in general is Mount Kilimanjaro. It's the tallest place in Africa and also the highest freestanding mountain in the world with an elevation of 5,895 meters. What's great about Mount Kilimanjaro is that it can be summited without climbing gear. The journey takes anywhere from 5 to 10 days to complete, and I'd love to do it someday. Now, one of the best places to view Mount Kilimanjaro is from the Amboseli National Park. It's located right across the border in Kenya, and I think it has one of the best views in the world, not only because it has a great view of Mount Kilimanjaro, but it's often coupled with animals such as elephants roaming free throughout the park. I mean, it's a scene straight out of Lion King. Now, afterwards, we're going to venture to Ethiopia to visit the Simien Mountains. They are home to the highest point in Ethiopia. Now, one of my favorite features of the Simien Mountains is its wildlife. They're home to the Galata baboon, also known as the bleeding heart monkey, which can only be found in the Ethiopia highlands. I mean, it's just such an interesting part of Africa. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit the island of the Seychelles. Now, located in the Indian Ocean off the coast of East Africa, the Seychelles are an archipelago made up of 115 islands and are home to some of the world's most famous beaches. Now, when you fly to Seychelles, you probably come to the island of Mahi. It's the biggest island in the archipelago and also home to Victoria, which is the island's capital. Now, there's a lot to do and see on Mahi, and it's also a great place to venture off to the other One of the most famous places in all the Seychelles is the beach called Anse Source d'Argent. It's located on the island Aladique, which you can reach by taking a ferry from the neighboring islands. It's often rated as one of the world's most beautiful beaches, and I totally understand why. It has these massive granite boulders that create an otherworldly landscape. After, we're going to visit Madagascar. After Indonesia, Madagascar is the largest island country in the world. One thing unique about Madagascar is that 90% of its plants and animal species are found nowhere else in the world. One of the most famous places in Madagascar is the Baobab Avenue. It's this dirt street lined with grandiose baobab trees, which are over 30 meters tall and almost 3,000 years old. Another destination to visit in Africa is the island of Réunion. Located in the Indian Ocean, Réunion is a French territory with some of the most incredible terrain. It's a volcanic island and totally reminds me of Hawaii. One of the most striking features of the island is the volcano called Piton de la Fournaise. It's currently one of the most active volcanoes in the world, with its most recent eruption in 2020. Réunion just has some of the most insane scenery. After, we're going to visit the nearby island Mauritius. Unlike Réunion, Mauritius is its own country. It's an incredibly beautiful island with impressive mountain peaks and landscapes. Probably the most well-known feature of Mauritius is its underwater waterfall. While it isn't actually a waterfall, it creates an illusion of one. It can best be seen from the air. Now, after, we're going to head up to Egypt to visit the pyramids of Giza. As one of the ancient wonders of the world, I think the pyramids of Giza are some of the most baffling and intriguing structures on Earth. To think that thousands of years ago, millions of massive stone blocks were used to build one of the largest structures on Earth, it's just hard to comprehend. Now, the pyramids are full of mystery, like how in the world were they built? What was the purpose? And just many other questions. Some archaeologists believe that the pyramids served as a tomb for the pharaohs, but I think they had a different purpose. Another interesting fact about the pyramids is that the coordinates are the exact same numbers as the speed of light. I mean, whether that means something or just a crazy coincidence, it's definitely something to think about. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Jordan to visit Petra. Famous for being one of the wonders of the world, I first remember seeing Petra in the Indiana Jones movie. It's believed that the area was settled by the Nabateans around the 4th century BC, where they made Petra as the capital city of their kingdom. I think the most impressive place in Petra is the treasury. It's this temple that was carved straight out of sandstone rock, and it's believed to serve as a mausoleum for the Nabatean kingdom. It got its name as the treasury because local Bedouins believed treasure was hidden inside. While we're still in Jordan, we're going to head over to the Wadi Rum Desert. Located near the border of Saudi Arabia, Wadi Rum is this incredible desert landscape with unique rock features. It's been the filming location for movies such as Aladdin and Star Wars. It really feels like you're on another planet here, and no wonder why so many films are created in this beautiful desert. Now, afterwards, we're going to head over to Saudi Arabia. Located in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia was a rather mysterious country until it opened its borders to tourists in 2019. The largest and capital city of Saudi Arabia is Riyadh. It's a major financial hub and full of fascinating skyscrapers. Now, one of the most interesting places in Saudi is called Al-Ula. It's located in the northwestern part of the country, and it's home to some fascinating rock formations and ancient tombs. The area was founded back in the 6th century, and it's just full of so much history. After, we're going to head over to the UAE to visit Dubai. Now, Dubai is one of the wildest places I've ever been. It's basically what happens when a city has a blank slate and limitless budget to make some of the craziest buildings and structures in the world. It's home to the Burj Khalifa, which is the world's tallest building at 830 meters high. When I was there, I went to the top 124th floor, and afterwards I went down to watch the spectacular Dubai fountain show. It was such a cool experience, and I just had a great time walking around and enjoying the light show on the Burj Khalifa. One cool thing I did while I was in Dubai was I went on a desert safari. We went out to the middle of the desert and got in some cars and rode on the dunes. It was a little sketchy, but I had a good time watching the sunset and experiencing the crazy deserts of the UAE. After, we're going to head over to the Himalayas to visit Nepal. Now, nicknamed the roof of the world, Nepal is home to 8 mountains that are over 8,000 meters high, including the world's tallest peak, Mount Everest. If you do visit Nepal, you'll probably fly into the capital city of Kathmandu. It's a bustling place surrounded by the Himalaya mountains, famous for its temples and monasteries. Now, one thing I want to do someday is hike to Everest Base Camp. You can start by flying into the sketchy Lukla Airport, and then take about 2 weeks to make the round trip journey. Base Camp is up at an elevation of 17,600 feet. I mean, Nepal is such an incredible country, and I hope you all can visit. After, we're going to visit the country of Pakistan. I think Pakistan is one of the most underrated countries in Asia. It has a vast array of landscapes. My favorite feature of Pakistan is its mountains. They're absolutely unbelievable, and after Nepal, they're home to the tallest mountains in the world. One of the most intriguing places in Pakistan, for me, is Fairy Meadows. It's this beautiful base camp that you need to take this sketchy road to get to. It's shadowed over by Nanga Parbat, which is the ninth tallest mountain in the world at 8,125 meters, and the overall scenery here is just mind-blowing with the glacier and everything. I mean, Pakistan's mountains truly are on another level. After, we're going to visit the country of Sri Lanka. Located right below India, Sri Lanka is an island country full of lush landscapes and intriguing destinations. One of the most recognizable places on Sri Lanka is Siria, or Lion's Rock. It's this massive monolith that sticks out of the landscape, and on top of it, there's an ancient fortress that was built in the 5th century AD. Today it stands as one of the best preserved examples of ancient urban planning. Afterwards, we're going to head over to India to visit the Taj Mahal. Now, when I think of India, the Taj Mahal almost always comes to mind. It was completed in the year 1653 and took over $1 billion adjusted for inflation to complete. It was built by the Mughal emperor at the time as a place to house the tomb of his favorite wife. It just blows my mind that this was created almost 400 years ago. Today it stands as a symbol for India and receives over 6 million visitors a year. Another intriguing destination in India is Varanasi, located on the Ganges River. Varanasi is one of the most religious and sacred sites in India, as it served as a central place for many traditions in the Hindu religion. It's one of the oldest continually inhabited cities, dating back almost 4,000 years. I mean, the history and culture here is just on another level. Truly is an incredible place to experience. After, we're going to visit Ladakh. Located on the borders of Pakistan and Tibet, Ladakh is one of the highest regions in India, as it's nestled in some of the biggest mountains in the world. There's a lot of beautiful monasteries and sights to see, and the landscapes up there are just so interesting. It's also one of the best places to see snow leopards. Now, another scenic place in Ladakh is the Pangong Lake. 1/3 of it's India, and the other part is in China. It's the highest saltwater lake in the world, with an elevation of 4,350 meters. The color of the lake is this dark blue color that's such a contrast between the red, airy mountains. After, we're going to visit the country of the Maldives. Now, when people imagine paradise, the Maldives might come to mind. Located in the Indian Ocean, the Maldives is a country made of 1,192 islands. It's famous for its white sand beaches, resorts, and crystal clear waters. I mean, if you're looking for an ideal honeymoon destination or just a relaxing vacation, the Maldives is your place. After, we're going to visit the country of Bangladesh. Almost completely surrounded by India, Bangladesh is a lush and vibrant country full of natural beauty and culture. The capital city of the country is Dhaka. Its old town is one of the most chaotic and wild places I've seen. If you want to see some of Bangladesh's nature, the Chittagong Hill Tracts offers some incredible landscapes with its lush rolling hills. It's also where the highest place in the country is located. If you want to see the coast, Cox's Bazar is home to the world's longest natural beach with a length of 155 kilometers. Bangladesh really is an incredible country that deserves to be experienced. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit the ancient city of Bagan. Now, located in the country of Myanmar, Bagan is this ancient city and is home to over 2,000 Buddhist temples, pagodas, and monasteries. During the 9th to 13th centuries, the Bagan kingdom resided here, which later became Myanmar. Today, Bagan is one of the most visible places in the country. Afterwards, we're going to head to Angkor Wat. Located in Cambodia, Angkor Wat is a temple complex and it's the largest religious monument in the world. It's easily one of the most remarkable ancient structures on Earth. I mean, it's just hard to fathom this place. Angkor Wat was built in the 12th century by the Khmer Empire, and it took 28 years to construct and was first used as a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Vishnu. But towards the end of the century, Angkor Wat was used to worship Buddhism. Today, it's one of the most renowned and visited religious sites in the world, and I totally understand why. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit Vietnam to visit the Ban Giac waterfalls. Now, located in the northern part of Vietnam, straddling the Chinese border, Ban Giac is the biggest waterfall in Southeast Asia. I mean, the scenery here is just absolutely insane, with iconic karst mountains in the background. You can take a boat ride to get up close to the waterfall. I mean, this place is just freaking magical. Another amazing spot in Vietnam is Ha Long Bay. Located in the Gulf of Tonkin, Ha Long Bay is this incredible area made up of emerald waters and thousands of limestone islands covered in lush vegetation. Now, probably the best way to experience Ha Long Bay is by taking a cruise. It could just be a few hours, but I recommend at least doing an overnight cruise so you can witness the Ha Long Bay during sunrise and sunset. Afterwards, we're going to head to Thailand to visit the Phi Phi Islands. I first saw these islands while watching Leonardo DiCaprio's film The Beach. Now to reach the PP Islands, you can take hour-long ferries from the nearby cities. The main islands have lots of amenities such as hotels and restaurants, and it's a great place to venture off to the other islands. I think my favorite one is Koh Phi Phi. It's this insane island you can boat around and snorkel. Another amazing place in Thailand is Phang Nga Bay. It's this mangrove area located near Krabi, and it has this almost perfect winding river that cuts through the mangroves with jagged mountains on both sides. Another amazing nearby place is Railay Beach. It's located just outside Krabi, and you can arrive by boat. There's just these massive rocks that overlook the beach, and it's a perfect place to watch the sunset. Afterwards, we're headed to the mainland of Thailand to visit Khao Sok National Park. This place is really interesting. It's this massive lake, and even though it was created as a result of a dam, the landscapes here are otherworldly. There's limestone mountains and rainforest vegetation home to animals such as the Asian elephant and tigers. If you can, I recommend staying here more than one day. You can spend a night on the lake's floating houses and just go hiking or boating throughout the park. After, we're going to head to the Philippines to visit Palawan. Now, when I think of the Philippines, the landscapes of Palawan come to mind. Jagged limestone islands, crystal clear waters, and phenomenal landscapes everywhere you look. I think one of the best places in Palawan is El Nido. There's just so many little islands and places to venture off to. I mean, it's truly a paradise here. Another nearby place is Coron. It has very similar landscapes to El Nido, but I'd say it's better for island tours and snorkeling. I mean, both are phenomenal travel destinations. After, we're going to head over to Indonesia to visit Bali. Bali has been one of the most popular travel destinations the last few years with its relatively cheap prices and incredible tropical landscapes. It's easy to see why. One of the most popular places to visit in Bali is Nusa Penida. It's an island right off the coast of Bali. It's famous for having white cliffs coupled with perfect beaches. Now, the rest of Bali is just full of rice terraces, prime surf spots, and jungle waterfalls. After Bali, we're going to head over to Mount Bromo. Located on the neighboring island of Java, I think Mount Bromo is one of the most impressive volcanoes in the world. The volcano itself isn't anything crazy, but the views of the massive crater and the other volcanoes in the background is just unbelievable. Although Mount Bromo is a very active volcano, you can hike up to the top and walk around its rim. Another one of my favorite destinations in Indonesia is the Komodo National Park. It's an archipelago made up of 3 islands, and it's home to the Komodo dragon. My favorite island in the park is Padar. It's this little island with no development on it, and there's also no Komodo dragons. You can only reach Padar by boat. I mean, I'd love to sail around these islands one day. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit Raja Ampat. Often called the last paradise on Earth, Raja Ampat is an archipelago made up of 1,500 islands. It's known for having some of the most pristine marine life, and it's one of the best places in the world to go diving. One of the most impressive places on Raja Ampat is the Wayag Islands. There's just dozens of these little islets and coves to explore, and I can understand why it's called paradise on Earth. After, we're going to head over to Australia to visit Whitehaven Beach. Regularly voted as one of the best beaches in the world, Whitehaven Beach is located on the Whitsunday Island, and it can be reached by taking a boat or seaplane. The sand is made up of silica, giving it this white color, and when combined with the blue ocean water, it creates this swirly turquoise mix that winds back into the island's inlet. It's just incredible to look at. And probably one of the most famous places on Australia is the Great Barrier Reef. It's located in the northeastern coast of Australia, and it's the biggest reef system in the world, stretching over 2,300 kilometers. It can be seen from space, and is the world's largest structure made by living organisms. No wonder why it's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's home to over 10% of all the ocean's fish species, and there's also plenty of whales and sharks there. I mean, it would be a dream to go scuba diving here one day. Another incredible place on Australia's mainland near the Barrier Reef is the Daintree rainforest. It's a combination of mountains, untouched beaches, and possibly the oldest rainforest in the world, which began over 110 million years ago. The rainforest is home to animals such as the cassowary, which is one of the world's biggest birds. The Daintree rainforest has landscapes I had no idea existed in Australia. The area around Cape Tribulation is so scenic, with sea mountains covered in the lush rainforest vegetation. Now, afterwards, we're going to head into Australia's centre to visit the outback. When you look at Australia from space, you'll notice that basically all the cities are on the coast, but the interior of the country is this orange desolate landscape with hardly anyone living there, and that's the outback. The most iconic landmark of the outback is the Uluru, or Ayers Rock. It's this massive monolith made up of sandstone. It's a sacred site for the indigenous Australians, believed to be a resting site for ancient spirits. There's definitely energy there, and it's just bizarre how it sits alone in the desolate outback. After we're going to visit the nearby country of New Zealand. Now, after seeing movies like Lord of the Rings, I think it's safe to say we all want to visit New Zealand one day. Now, New Zealand is made up of 700 islands, but the two major ones are the north and south. If you're down for more adventure and crazy landscapes, I'd say the South Island is where it's at. It's home to the Southern Alps, where Mount Cook is located. It's the tallest mountain in New Zealand and stands over 12,218 feet high. Another incredible spot is the Milford Sound. Described as the eighth wonder of the world, the Milford Sound is a fjord that was carved out by glaciers during the Ice Age. It's one of the widest places in the world, and the whole area is just full of rainforests and magical waterfalls. If you're more into beaches, the North Island offers so many. One of my favorites is Cathedral Cove. It's located on the Coromandel Peninsula, and it requires a decent walk to reach the beach, but you'll be rewarded with one of New Zealand's most beautiful beaches. Afterwards, we're going to visit the beautiful islands of French Polynesia. Located in the South Pacific, French Polynesia is made up of over 100 islands. One of the most stunning islands is Bora Bora. I mean, look at this place. It doesn't even look real. Just how the islets and coral reef protect the island, and crystal clear lagoon just blows your mind. It couldn't be more perfect. If you got some money to blow, you can stay at one of the ocean bungalows that are built right above the water. The center of the island is a dormant volcano called Mount Ultimano, and it stands at an impressive 727 meters tall. Another one of my favorite islands in French Polynesia is Marbella. This place is just insanely beautiful. Similar to Bora Bora, the whole island of Marbella is surrounded by a protected coral reef, and the mountains here are just stunning. Another cool thing about Marbella and French Polynesia in general is one of the best places to see the humpback whales who come here during the late summer and early fall months. While we're still in the South Pacific, we're going to visit Rarotonga. As the largest of the Cook Islands, Rarotonga is home to 13,000 people. Now, similar to French Polynesia, Rarotonga has some impressive mountains and a coral reef that protects this little island. There's also this really cool rock formation called a needle that is a fun hike to go on. Afterwards, we're going to visit the Isle of Pines, located just off of New Caledonia. The Isle of Pines is this really peculiar island. I mean, when I imagine a tropical paradise, I certainly don't think of pine trees, but the Isle of Pines sure is an exception. To reach the island, you can come by plane or ferry. Now, while you're there, you can explore the crystal clear lagoons, accompanied with white sand and endless pine trees. I mean, it's just such a unique and beautiful island. After, we're going to head to the Caribbean to visit St. Lucia. Of all the Caribbean islands, I think St. Lucia is one of the most impressive. My favorite features of St. Lucia is its batons, which are these jagged mountains that come straight out of the ocean. And I can totally imagine Jack Sparrow sailing his ship with this as his backdrop. Right above St. Lucia is the island of Martinique. It's a French territory, and it's sure is beautiful. It has everything from historical towns to beaches perfect for surfing. The highest point on the island is Mount Pelée, with an elevation of 1,397 meters. Right below the volcano is the town of St. Pierre. It was founded back in 1635 and was known as the Paris of the Caribbean. In 1902, Mount Pelée erupted, and the whole town was sadly destroyed. Thankfully today, it's been restored, and I just love the backdrop it has with the coast and Mount Pelée. Another one of my favorite places in the Caribbean is Guadeloupe. It's a sad 12 islands, and like Martinique, it's the French overseas region. One of the most beautiful places on Guadeloupe is Terre de Haut. It's this little commune that you can reach by ferry from the neighboring island. Once you reach it, there's a fortification called Fort Napoleon, and it was built in the 18th century, and the views of the bay you get up there are just phenomenal. Now, afterwards, we're going to head over to Central America to experience Belize. Belize is one of my all-time favorite countries. I may be a little biased because I lived there for over a year. It's one of the most colorful and diverse places I've ever been. It's home to the second largest coral reef system in the world, and it's home to animals, crystal clear waters, and ancient ruins. One of my favorite places in Belize is this ruin called the Nantinich. It's one of Belize's most impressive and easily accessible ruins. The Nantinich translates the sculpture of the lady. Another one of Belize's most iconic sites is the Great Blue Hole. I mean, when you think of Belize, this is what you're probably thinking of. It's over 1,000 feet wide and 400 feet deep. Truly one of the most unique locations on Earth. After, we're going to head over to Guatemala to visit Tikal. Located in the rainforest of northern Guatemala, Tikal is one of the most incredible archaeological sites in the world. The area was first inhabited around the 6th century BC, but Tikal really began to flourish between the years 200 to 850 AD, as it served as the capital of one of the most powerful ancient Mayan kingdoms. At its peak, there was about 60,000 Mayans in Tikal and the surrounding area, and I would love to go back in time and see what it was like to live back then. Around the end of the 9th century, Tikal's population plummeted, possibly due to overpopulation and lack of food. Today, it's an incredible place to visit. I love walking around and marveling at all the temples. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Mexico to visit the pyramids of Teotihuacan, located about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City. Teotihuacan is one of the most impressive archaeological sites in all of Mexico. It's believed to have been established around 100 BC and grew to be one of the largest cities in the world at its time, with an estimated population of 125,000 people. My favorite place there is the Pyramid of the Sun. It was constructed around 200 AD and is one of the largest structures in Mesoamerica. The Pyramid of the Moon is another impressive pyramid there. I just love how it's lined up with the Avenue of the Dead with the Cerro Gordo mountain as its backdrop. After, we're going to head to Venezuela to witness Angel Falls, known as the tallest waterfall in the world with a height of 979 meters. A special thanks to my buddy Ellis Van Jason for sharing his FPV footage from here and many other parts of this video. He ventured into the depths of the Venezuelan jungle for 2 weeks to get some of the world's most incredible footage of this waterfall. I mean, it's seriously jaw-dropping. I'll link his video of his Venezuelan adventure in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. Now, to reach Angel Falls, it's not an easy journey. You'll fly to this town at Canema, and from there you'll take a day boat trip up the river to reach the falls. While it's not easy journey to get there, the falls are more than worth it. Now, while we're still on the topic of waterfalls, the world's tallest single drop waterfall is in the neighboring country of Guyana. It's called Cater Falls and has a height of 226 meters. You can reach the falls by flying into a small airport. I just love the remoteness of this place. There's literally nothing around besides its powerful waterfall. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Brazil to visit Lençóis Maranhenses. Located in the northeastern part of the country, Lençóis Maranhenses is one of the most unique landscapes in South America. It sees almost endless array of sand dunes that fill up with these Caribbean blue lagoons during the rainy season. You may recognize this landscape from the Planet Vormir and the Avengers movie. Afterwards, we're going to visit Rio de Janeiro. I was lucky enough to visit Rio de Janeiro a few years ago, and I have to say it's one of the most wild and vibrant cities I've ever visited. It's home to beautiful beaches and gigantic granite mountains. One of the most famous places in Rio de Janeiro is the Christ the Redeemer. It's this massive statue that's over 38 meters tall and sits on top of this stone pinnacle overlooking all of Rio de Janeiro. When I was there, it was absolutely packed with people, but I still had a great time walking around and marveling at this iconic location. Another one of my favorite places in Rio was Ipanema Beach. I mean, before visiting Brazil, this is what I imagined Rio to be like. And Ipanema Beach didn't let me down. I mean, Rio de Janeiro was just a vibe all around. After, we're going to visit Iguazu Falls. I think after Angel Falls, Iguazu is one of the most recognizable waterfalls in all of South America. It's located right on the Brazilian and Argentina border, and it's the most powerful waterfall system in the world. At its peak, Iguazu can have up to 300 waterfalls. The most recognizable feature of Iguazu Falls is the Devil's Rope. It's this horseshoe-shaped chasm where a majority of the water goes. After, we're going to venture down to Patagonia. Located in both bottom halves of Chile and Argentina, Patagonia is easily one of the most beautiful regions in the world. It has fjords like Norway, sounds like New Zealand, and the mountains are comparable to the Alps. Now, one of the most famous places in Patagonia is Torres del Paine. It's located on the Chilean side. Torres del Paine is a national park home to animals such as guanacos and pumas, and it's named after its iconic 3 granite towers. Another one of the most well-known places in Patagonia is Fitzroy. It's this mountain range located on the Argentinian side. I think it's possibly one of the most beautiful mountains in the world. There's several glacial lakes and viewpoints to marvel this mountain range from, and the area is just spectacular. After, we're going to head over to Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui. Easter Island is located over 3,000 kilometers off the coast of Chile, making it one of the most remote islands in the world. It's believed that the island was settled around the year 1200 by Polynesians who settled from French Polynesia. What makes the island so mysterious and famous is its moai statues. There are over 900 moai on the island, and the tallest reach over 10 meters tall. It's a mystery how these statues were transported, but it's believed that logs were used to move the moai across the island. Pretty fascinating stuff. After, we're going to Peru to visit Machu Picchu. Nestled in the Andes Mountains, Machu Picchu stands as one of the most incredible archaeological sites in the world. It was built around 1450 by the Incans and is believed to have been constructed as an estate for the Incan emperor at the time. Machu Picchu was abandoned in the year 1572, probably due to the nearby Spanish conquest, and many of the people may have gotten smallpox. The citadel was overgrown by the forest and remained hidden until 1911 when it was found by the American explorer Hiram Bingham. Today, Machu Picchu is one of the world's most well-known archaeological sites. To reach Machu Picchu, you can hike there, or you can also take a train. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Bolivia to experience the Uyuni Salt Flats. Located in the Bolivian Andes Mountains lies the largest salt flat in the world. One of the most peculiar places on the salt flats is this little island called Inga Huasi. It's located in the middle of the salt flats with nothing around, and it's home to giant cacti. And the landscape just feels otherworldly. Another interesting fact about the salt flats is that when it rains, it creates the world's biggest mirror. If you can't make it to South America, there's another salt flats called Bonneville in the state of Utah in the USA. I've been there several times, and I can say both are amazing and worth the journey. After, we're going to visit the Galapagos Islands. Located right on the equator, the Galapagos Islands are a volcanic archipelago made up of 21 islands. They were discovered in the 16th century and later popularized by Charles Darwin, who studied the island's unique endemic animal species. Some of my favorite animals on the island are the marine iguanas and the blue-footed birds. After, we're going to head to the Hawaiian Islands to visit Kauai. Of all the Hawaiian Islands, Kauai is the oldest, making it the most beautiful and diverse. It's nicknamed the Garden Island, and when you go there, you'll understand why. One of my favorite places on Kauai is the Napali Coast. There are very few places in the world, if any, that can match the beauty of this coastline. The Napali Coast is filled with sea cliffs that rise over 1,000 meters from the ocean, contrasted with deep, narrow valleys that empty to the sea below. There are several ways to experience the Napali Coast. One of the best ways is by helicopter. It can be a little expensive, but you're able to get incredible views of the cliffs. Another great way is through a boat tour. You'll be able to experience the coast from a new perspective, and you can also jump off the boat and do some snorkeling in the ocean. It's truly phenomenal. If you're on a budget like me, there's plenty of hikes and lookout spots you can go to have an amazing experience exploring the Napali Coast. While we're still in Hawaii, we're going to visit the island of Oahu. Of all the islands in Hawaii, I have to say that Oahu is my favorite. I lived here for almost a year on the North Shore. It was some of the greatest times of my life. If you love hiking, surfing, and adventures, Oahu is the place for you. One of the most popular places on Oahu is Waikiki. It's a perfect combination of city and ocean. The beach is lined with high-rise hotels and it's a perfect place to surf and catch some waves. Another one of my favorite places on Oahu is the North Shore. The North Shore is made up of 17 miles of coastline that is home to some of the greatest surfing in the world. One of the most well-known beaches on the North Shore is the Bondi Pipeline. The waves are created by a super sharp and dangerous reef that causes the waves to break just right. During the winter months, some of the most popular surfing competitions are held here, and the waves can reach over 20 feet high. When there aren't crazy waves, I just love swimming on the North Shore. The water is so clear, and the waves are so fun to swim in. After, we're going to head to California to visit Yosemite National Park. Now, Yosemite is one of the most stunning national parks in all the U.S. It's famous for its massive granite cliffs, clear streams, and gigantic waterfalls. One of my favorite features of the park is the Half Dome. It's this gigantic piece of granite that rises over 5,000 feet from the valley below. Another impressive feature of the park is the Yosemite Falls. It's one of the world's tallest waterfalls with a height of 1,430 feet. From Yosemite, we're going to take a drive on Big Sur. Located on the Pacific 101 Highway, Big Sur is one of America's most scenic roads, known for its winding turns, seaside cliffs, and views of the misty coastline. One of the coolest places on Big Sur is the Bixby Creek Bridge, which is so photogenic with the coastline. Now, another one of my favorite spots is the Midway Falls, which is this 80-foot waterfall that falls onto the beach below. After exploring California, we're going to make the drive up to Oregon. Now, I have to say Oregon is one of my favorite states in all the U.S. It's home to massive volcanoes and countless waterfalls. Me and my wife did a road trip through the state a few years ago, and it was extremely enjoyable. I think Oregon is home to some of the best coastline in America. I highly recommend just driving up the 101 Coastal Highway. One of my favorite places on the drive is Cannon Beach. If you watch the movie The Goonies, you'll recognize it. Another beautiful spot is the Samuel H. Boardman Scenic Corridor. It's one of the most beautiful spots on the Oregon coast, in my opinion. After, we're going to visit Yellowstone National Park. Located in Wyoming, Yellowstone is one of the USA's most visited national parks. Now, one of the most famous places in Yellowstone is the Grand Prismatic Spring. It's the third largest hot spring in the world with a depth of 160 feet, and from above it displays a remarkable rainbow color. You can walk on the platforms around the spring, but you'll get the best view by taking the short hike up to the Grand charismatic spring overlook. Another iconic spot in the park is Old Faithful. It's one of the world's most famous geysers because of its reliability. It erupts around every 90 minutes, and the boiling water can reach 185 feet high. Afterwards, we're going to visit the American Southwest, composed of states such as Utah and Arizona. I think the Southwest is one of the most beautiful places in the USA. It has some of the world's most unique rock formations and some of America's best national parks. One of my favorite places in the Southwest is Moab. Located in Utah, Moab is a hub for adventure and exploration. What's great about Moab is there's so many activities you can do in and around it. One of my favorites is the Fisher Towers. It's just about a 40-minute drive outside of Moab. It's home to the Titan Tower, which is claimed to be the largest freestanding rock tower in the U.S. with a prominence of 700 feet. You can do about a 4-mile round-trip hike and experience all the towers from below. I mean, it's just such a cool hike with incredible views. Now, another cool spot right outside of Moab is Corona Arch. I remember the first time I saw this place was in Devin Supertramp's video where they made a giant rope swing off of it. Now, to get to the arch, it's a fairly easy hike of 2.4 miles round trip. If you want to avoid the heat, I recommend doing the hike early in the morning or in the evening. It's just such a beautiful arch. When you stand under it, you realize how huge it is. One of the most famous places in the American Southwest is the Grand Canyon. Known as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, it's a 1-mile deep, 277-mile-long gorge that has been carved and sculpted by the Colorado River. The Grand Canyon is home to endless activities and forms of exploration. Nearly 5.5 million people will come to visit this canyon every year, and it's easy to see why. After, we're going to head up to Alaska. And when you think of untamed wilderness, Alaska is it. It's a land full of some of the world's biggest mountains and glaciers, and when I look at the landscapes here, they're just so vast and untouched. One of the most wild places in Alaska is the Aleutian Islands. I think this may be one of the most incredible destinations in all the U.S. Located in the Bering Sea, the Aleutian Islands are made up of 300 islands. The largest settlement on the islands is Unalaska, with about 4,000 residents. There's an airport there, and a decent amount of infrastructure, considering the remoteness of the island. The landscapes here remind me of Iceland, with its volcanic terrain and just harsh seas. The islands are also full of history. During World War II, Japan landed and occupied 2 of the Aleutian Islands, making it the only invasion on U.S. soil during World War II. Well, afterwards, we're going to head over to Canada to visit British Columbia, sandwiched right between Alaska and Washington. British Columbia is an incredible area full of massive mountains and endless beauty. British Columbia is a wonderland if you're into action sports. It has some of the world's best mountain biking and kayaking, and it's also where the ski resort Whistler is located. When we're still in Canada, we're going to visit Banff National Park. If you love gigantic mountains and pristine alpine lakes, this is the place for you. It's Canada's oldest national park and easily one of the most scenic. My favorite place in the park is Moraine Lake. It just has this stunning turquoise water with a backdrop of the Rockies Mountains. I mean, it's hard to match that scenery. After, we're going to visit the land of the rising sun, Japan. From the snow-covered northern island of Sapporo to the Japanese Alps, this little island country has so much to offer. But when you get to Japan, you can visit Tokyo. It's the largest city in the world with a population of over 37 million. From Tokyo, you can venture about an hour and a half outside to visit Mount Fuji. The active volcano is the tallest peak in Japan with a height of 12,388 feet. It's a perfect cone shape and acts as a sacred symbol for the country. A great place to view Mount Fuji from is Lake Kawaguchi. You can get a wonderful view of the volcano from there, and overall it's just a beautiful area. Nearby is the Chirito Pagoda, which offers one of the most incredible views of the sacred volcano. Afterwards, we're going to head over to China to visit the magical mountains of Zhangjiajie. Now, located in the Yunnan province, this forest is home to some of the world's most bizarre scenery. The park is full of these rock pillars that ascend from the forest floor. They're covered in lush vegetation and often misty clouds, adding to their magic. Now, these rock pillars are the inspiration behind the floating mountains in the movie Avatar. Afterwards, we're going to visit the province of Guangxi. Now, located in southern China on the Vietnam border, this place is absolutely incredible. When I imagine China, this is the type of landscapes I imagine. Lush valleys, vast cave systems, and mountains that look like they're straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. Now, one of my favorite places in the province is Yangzhou, located near the city of Guilin. The area is full of the iconic karst mountains. Throughout the province, there are just thousands of these uniquely shaped mountains. They are made from eroded limestone, and I think they're so fascinating. Anyways, I just want to take a boat down the Li River and explore all that Yangzhou has to offer. Now afterwards, we're going to visit the Great Wall of China. This may be the most notable feature of China, and with reason. When I think of the Great Wall of China, I imagine one giant wall that stretches across the country, but it's actually a series of walls that were built by different dynasties as far back as the 7th century BC. The walls that are most famous and recognizable today are the walls that were built by the Ming Dynasty during the 14th century, which are located about 2 hours outside of Beijing. Now in total, there are about 13,000 miles of walls across China, making it one of the greatest architectural feats in human history. After, we're going to head over to Russia to visit the Kamchatka Peninsula. Now this may be one of the most wild and beautiful places in all of Russia. It's a sea-battered land dotted with over 160 volcanoes. It's basically Russia's version of Iceland with a little bit of Alaska. The volcanic peninsula is home to bears, killer whales, and some of the most stunning places I've ever seen. There are no roads from mainland Russia that lead to Kamchatka, so the best way to get there is by plane. I think this may be one of the most beautiful yet undiscovered places in the world. After Kamchatka, we're going to head over to Siberia. Siberia is just this massive region. It makes up more than 3/4 of Russia's land area, but only about 25% of Russia's population lives there due to its remoteness and harsh weather. One of the craziest places in Siberia and all of Russia is Lake Baikal, located in the southern part of Siberia. Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater lake in the world. It contains more than 20% of all the world's fresh water. It's also the world's deepest lake with a depth of 1,642 meters. It's home to one of the only freshwater sills. During the winter months, the ice can freeze to be 2 meters thick. One of the easiest ways to get across is with a hoverboat, or you can have a winter workout and ice skate on the world's largest ice rink. After Lake Baikal, we're going to visit the Altai Mountains. This mountain range is nicknamed the Switzerland of Siberia, and I totally understand why. I'm just blown away by the scenery here. Altai Mountains are a mountain range that is located not only in Russia, but also extends to Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. Altai translates to Golden Mountain, and I have to say that the Altai scenery lives up to its name with its unique colors and golden vegetation. Afterwards, we're going to Turkey to visit Istanbul. Istanbul is just one of the most fascinating places. It's a transcontinental city, which means that Istanbul is part of Europe and Asia. The Bosphorus Strait, which is considered to be the boundary between Europe and Asia, runs right through the city. The history of Istanbul is endless. It was settled as far back as the 7th century BC, and it became the capital of the Roman Empire in 330 AD. But one of the most important features of Istanbul is the Hagia Sophia. It was built all the way back in 537 AD as a Christian church, but after the fall of Constantinople in 1453, the church was converted into a mosque. At the time of its completion, it was the world's largest interior space and the first building to use a fully pentative dome. I mean, just such an amazing structure. After, we're going to visit Cappadocia. Now, located in the heart of the country, Cappadocia is famous for its unique rock formations and skies full of hot air balloons. Cappadocia was first mentioned in the 6th century BC. Today, it's one of Turkey's most recognized places. One of the main towns in Cappadocia is Goremi. Almost every morning, the horizon in Goremi is filled with hundreds of hot air balloons. I mean, it doesn't get more magical than that. After, we're going to head over to Italy to visit Sardinia. With some of Europe's best coastline, pristine beaches, and the clearest water you've ever seen, Sardinia is the place to be. The main reason I wanted to go to Sardinia was to visit Cala Golorizze. I think it's easily one of the most beautiful beaches in all of Italy. It has these massive pointy rock formations coupled with green cliffs and Gatorade blue water. We anchored and immediately went for a swim. I mean, the visibility was absolutely incredible. It's some of the best I've ever swam in. Another reason I wanted to go to Cala Golorizze is because there's a sea arch where you can cliff jump. I sent a few jumps off and it was just so much fun. I mean, there's no better feeling than sending a gainer into the ocean. And there's just so much to do and see in Sardinia. I hope you can all visit one day. Now, after Sardinia, let's head over to the Amalfi Coast. I have to say this is one of the most beautiful places, not just in Italy, but all of Europe. It's just hard to believe this place exists. Now, one of the most well-known towns on the Amalfi Coast is Positano. I mean, when you see this place in real life, you won't believe it. It's hard to beat the backdrop of the mountains filled with colorful villas against the Mediterranean Sea filled with boats and yachts. One of my personal favorite places on the Amalfi Coast is Fiordo di Furore. This is easily one of the most scenic beaches I've ever been to. It's located in this little fjord complemented with an incredible arch bridge. I mean, it's a paradise for cliff jumping. There's so many places you can jump from. Now afterwards, we're going to head over to Sicily to visit the Aeolian Islands. Now the Aeolian Islands are an archipelago made up of 7 inhabited islands located off the Sicily's northern coast. Now the islands were created by volcanic activity, and as a result, they are home to some of the most bizarre landscapes. We sailed around for a week and went to some of the most phenomenal places the islands have to offer. Now the most epic island on the archipelago is probably Stromboli. It's nicknamed the lighthouse of the Mediterranean, and at night you can see lava shooting out the top. We took a boat to the northern side of the island and got some of the best views of the volcano. After, we're going to visit Italy's capital, Rome. Now Rome may be one of the most iconic cities in the world. Its history spans over 28 centuries, with its founding taking place in 753 BC. Ancient Rome's architecture stands today and draws millions of tourists each year. One of the most well-known structures of the capital is the Colosseum. It's this oval-shaped amphitheater that was completed in 80 AD. It's the largest amphitheater ever built and could hold anywhere from 50 to 80,000 spectators. You can marvel at its architecture from the outside or take a guided tour to witness the interior. Another one of my favorite attractions is the Trevi Fountain. It's this Baroque-style fountain that was built in 1762. There's just so much to see in Rome. I hope you can all visit one day. While we're still in Italy, we're going to head over to Tuscany. Located in central Italy, Tuscany is known for its landscapes, history, and artistic legacy. But one of my favorite places there is San Gimignano. It's this hilltop town famous for its watchtowers and incredibly preserved medieval features. Now, the city of Florence is the crowning feature of Tuscany. It's considered to be the birthplace of the Renaissance, and the history there is endless. Whether you walk across the Ponte Vecchio Bridge or marvel at the architecture of the Duomo, Florence is sure to take you back in time. After, we're going to visit the Italian Dolomites. I have to say, these are my favorite mountains in all the world. I spent several weeks exploring these mountains, and I consider it to be some of the greatest days of my life. The Dolomites are home to endless jagged peaks, scenic alpine lakes, and just fairy tale villages. One of my favorite places in the Dolomites is Seseda. I remember the first time I saw a video of this mountain, I couldn't believe it existed. The green grass slopes contrasted with the jagged mountain ridge, often covered in clouds, makes one of the most scenic landscape combos in the world. Another magical place nearby is Alpe di Susi. It's home to the largest high alpine meadow in Europe, and the backdrop of the Sassolungo mountain with the huts creates the scene straight out of a dream. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Switzerland to visit the Alps. I have to say, the Swiss Alps are one of my all-time favorite regions in the world. There's just something magical about the massive mountains, incredible landscapes, and history that exists there. In general, I think Switzerland is one of the most well-run countries in the world. You'll know what I mean when you visit. I mean, everything is perfect. The only downside is that it's very expensive. One of my favorite places in the Swiss Alps is Zermatt. It's this enchanting village that is overlooked by the daunting Matterhorn Mountain. Zermatt is a great place to walk around and explore, and it's also an ideal starting place for many incredible hikes. You can take up the Gornergrat Railway to get some incredible views of the Matterhorn and surrounding mountains. Another one of my favorite places in the Swiss Alps is Laubrunnen. It's this magical village with waterfalls that descend upon it. I mean, it's a real-life fairy tale. When you visit here, it's just hard to believe that places like this actually exist. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Portugal to visit Madeira. Located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Africa, Madeira is often called the Hawaii Europe, and after visiting it, I totally understand why. My favorite place on Madeira is Pico do Arriero. It's one of the tallest points on the island, and since you're so high up, you'll often be in or above the clouds. Now, the hiking there is exquisite. The trails are so well maintained. You get some of the most phenomenal views, and you don't even need to hike that far. I was blown away by the dramatic peaks and unique reddish and orange colors of the rock. I mean, if you're up for adventure in 2023, you gotta give Madeira a visit. We're still in the Atlantic. We're gonna visit Portugal's archipelago of the Azores. Now, the Azores are a group of 9 islands like none other. They remind me of a hybrid of New Zealand and Hawaii with rolling pastures and green scenery. I mean, it's basically the Garden of Eden in real life. The largest island on the Azores is São Miguel. One of the most stunning places on the island is Lagoa da Sete Cidades. It's a twin lake situated in the crater of the volcano. One lake is green while the other is blue. Now, another one of my favorite islands on the Azores is Pico. It's home to the highest point in all of Portugal, called Mount Pico. It's a stratovolcano that reaches 2,351 meters high, and it last erupted in 1720. I just can't believe how huge it is. I mean, it's just hard to beat the scenery of this volcanic archipelago. After, we're going to head over to Spain to visit possibly my favorite island in the world, Majorca. When you think of a Mediterranean paradise, this is it. Majorca is home to crystal clear water, windy roads, and some of the world's best cliff diving spots. When I started solo traveling, this is one of the first places I went, so will forever have a special place in my heart. One of my favorite places in Majorca is Cala Marquez. You're just going to be blown away by the beauty of this place. It literally has everything from sandy beaches to prime cliff jumping spots. When I was there, I did one of my biggest cliff jumps ever and jumped off a massive 60-foot arch. It was terrifying, but it became one of my all-time favorite travel memories. After, we're going to head up to Ireland to visit the dramatic Skellig Islands. Located off the coast of Southern Ireland, the Skelligs are a set of two islands that are easily one of the most epic locations. The only way to reach the islands is by boat. We left from the town of Portmagee, and it took us about an hour to reach the Great Skellig. We got off the boat, and I was just so freaking stoked. We just started walking up the island's path until we reached the stairs that lead up to the top to the monasteries. Now, the history of the island is just absolutely fascinating. The monastic settlement dates back to the 6th century, where the monks of St. Fiona lived simple lives on this isolated island. They built these beehive huts completely out of stone. They were precisely designed to make sure no water could get into them. Now, it's believed there were about 12 monks that lived here at a time. In the 13th century, the monks left the island for mainland Ireland, and since then, Skellig has become a place for pilgrimage. All in all, the Skellig Islands are one of the coolest places I've ever been, and I couldn't recommend them enough. Afterwards, we're going to venture to Scotland to visit the Isle of Skye. This is one of my favorite places, not just in Scotland, but the world. You literally feel like you're in a fairy tale when you visit. I was lucky enough to go here a few summers ago, and it was one of the most memorable weeks of my life. One of the most impressive places on the Isle of Skye is the Old Man of Storr. It's one of my all-time favorite rock formations. I felt like I was on the set of Game of Thrones. When you drive to the store, you can see in the distance and just get you so pumped. Now, to get to the Old Man of Storr, it's about a 4-kilometer hike. You'll walk through some conservation gates and you'll reach the infamous rock pinnacles. So the legend of the Old Man of Storr is supposedly a giant lived here a long time ago, and when he was buried, his thumb was left sticking out of the ground, creating the mystical rock formation. Afterwards, we're going to head to the Arctic Circle to visit the Lofoten Islands. Now, Lofoten is located in northern Norway, and even though it is in the Arctic Circle, it feels like you're on a tropical island. I was lucky enough to go there a few summers ago and just had an incredible journey road tripping through the islands. Our first pit stop was at this little fishing village called Henningfjord. Henningfjord is home to the world's most scenic soccer field. When we got there, we sadly didn't have a ball, but we had a good time playing on the field and enjoying the incredible views of Henningfjord. If you want to do an amazing hike, I recommend hiking to Balika Beach. It's about a 4-kilometer round trip trek, and I promise it's worth it. When you get to the beach, you're going to be amazed by the landscape. It has mountains that remind me of Switzerland, an ocean that looks like the Caribbean, and it's green as a tropical island. I just can't believe places like this exist, especially in the Arctic Circle. Afterwards, we're going to head down to Western Norway. I was here recently, and I was just blown away by the beauty of this country. I really like Western Norway in particular because it's home to a majority of Norway's fjords, and the landscapes there are just on another level. One of Norway's most well-known fjords is Fjord. You can get there by driving about 5 or 6 hours from Oslo. Now, the fjord is massive, and one of its most well-known features is the Seven Sisters waterfall that cascades 410 meters to the water below. Now, one of my favorite features in the fjord is Skagafjord. It's this historic mountain farm perched on a cliff. Now, to get there, you need to take a ferry and then you hike up. Now, the views there are just breathtaking, and the grass roof cabins look like something out of a fairy tale. Another one of my favorite places in Western Norway is Lofoten. It's located just a few hours away from Geiranger. It's this glacier lake with a distinct turquoise water. I mean, such a stunning color, and the scenery around the lake is unbelievable. After, we're going to head over to Finland to visit Lapland. Now, located in Finland's northernmost region, Lapland is the definition of a frozen wonderland. If you can handle the cold, Lapland may be one of the best places to witness the northern lights. The aurora borealis are abundant throughout the cold winter months. It can get up to negative 50 degrees Celsius in the winters, so make sure you bundle up. One thing I just love about Lapland is the snow-covered trees. They look like something straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. Afterwards, we're going to visit the Faroe Islands, located right between Norway and Iceland and the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I have to say the Faroes are home to some of the world's most dramatic landscapes, from the sheer sea cliffs to waterfalls straight to the ocean. The Faroes have so much to offer. One of the most scenic places in the Faroe Islands is the Usur waterfall that's located on Fire Island, and the water falls over 100 feet down to the ocean below. One of my personal favorite places is the island of Kalsoy. It has an incredible lighthouse that overlooks some of the biggest sea cliffs I've ever seen. While we're still in the Nordics, we're going to head across the Atlantic to visit Greenland. Now, Greenland is just absolutely huge. It's the biggest island in the world, but due to its harsh living conditions, only 56,000 people live there, making it the least densely populated place on the planet. Now, the capital city is Nuuk, and about a third of all the people in Greenland live there. I just think Greenland has some of the most untamed and wild places. There's just endless fjords and wonders to explore. Such a fascinating place. After, we're going to head over to Iceland to experience the land of fire and ice. I have to say that Iceland is home to some of the most unique landscapes in the world. I mean, Greenland and Iceland should really switch names because there's no shortage of green here. One of my personal favorite places in Iceland is Reynisfjara Beach. It's a black sand beach that's about a 2-hour drive from Reykjavik. What I really loved about the beach is its basalt sea stacks in the ocean. It makes you wonder how the Vikings must have felt when they washed upon these Icelandic shores. Another impressive place in Iceland is the Skogafoss waterfall. It's easily one of the most impressive waterfalls in all Iceland, with a drop of over 62 meters. On the other side of Iceland, you can visit the Kirkjufellsfoss. It's this uniquely shaped mountain that looks like Gandalf's hat. If you go during the wintertime, you might get lucky and experience the northern lights. There's just so much to see in Iceland, and I hope everyone can witness it at least once in their life. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Germany to visit the Neuschwanstein Castle. I have to say that it is the most beautiful castle in all Europe. It's what inspired Disney's Sleeping Beauty castle. I mean, it's just the perfect place for a princess. Now, the castle is nestled at the very tip of southern Germany. Neuschwanstein Castle is placed perfectly in the mountains with a phenomenal 360 view of the Bavarian Alps and the town below. When I was there, we walked around the castle. When you're up close, you realize how huge it really is. Anyways, I found a great vantage point in the trees with a perfect view of the castle. I just can't get over the beauty of this place. I mean, it's truly something out of a Disney fairy tale. Afterwards, we're going to head to France to visit Mont Saint Michel. I have to say this is easily one of my favorite places I visited in Europe. It's truly magical. You can't drive directly to the pedal island. Instead, you can park in the parking lots outside and either take a shuttle or walk about 4 kilometers. Now, I definitely recommend walking if you can. As you approach the island, it's quite the experience, but it just made me think of how the people must have felt throughout the ages as they came here. But when you reach the island and walk through the gates, you feel like you're walking into a Harry Potter movie. Now, on our way back, we met with some sheep in the field, and definitely it was the perfect way to end our time at Mont Saint Michel. Another one of my favorite places in France is the French Riviera. Also known as the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera is one of the most highly sought after destinations in Europe. It's located in southern France on the Mediterranean Sea. One of my favorite places on the Riviera is it's this medieval hilltop village that was founded around the 14th century. When you walk through the village, you feel like you're going back in time. Now, if you're into more nature, I recommend you check out the Calanques near Cassis. They offer some of France's best scenery with incredible sea coves surrounded by daunting cliffs. The one I really wanted to go to is called Calanques de Envaux. When I reached the beach, I was just amazed by the steep white cliffs coupled with the greens of the pines and blues of the water. We went for a swim, and the water clarity was amazing. I wanted to find a cliff to spot, and after swimming down the cove, I found this little rock about 7 meters high and sent a few jumps off it. After, we're going to visit France's capital, Paris. Since the 17th century, Paris has been Europe's major center of finance, fashion, and the arts. Paris is Europe's most visited city, and with all of its attractions and fascinating history, I totally understand why. The most recognizable attraction is the Eiffel Tower. It was built in 1889. The Eiffel Tower is 324 meters high, which made it the tallest man-made structure in the world at the time. Another popular attraction is the Louvre Museum. It's the world's largest art museum, and it's home to Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. You can also take a drive around the Arc de Triomphe or walk the grounds of the Palace of Versailles. There's just so much to do in this grand city. After, we're going to head to Greece to visit the medieval monasteries of Meteora. Located in the central part of the country, Meteora is home to 6 monasteries built upon nearly inaccessible rock pillars. During the 14th century, monks were facing attacks from Turkish raiders, so they needed a place where they could worship in safety. They decided to start building these monasteries upon the rocks. These places of worship were perfect for the monks because the only way to reach them was by climbing long ladders that would be drawn up whenever the monks felt threatened. The monasteries became a place of refuge, and over 20 monasteries were built during the 14th century. I was lucky enough